Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some strange events and spirits and things like that, my experiences that I've had. So it started when I was about 8 months old. I was at my granddad's graveside and my dad was holding me in his arms, and I kept looking up at this tree that was just by the grave, and I kept making these funny faces at the tree, and apparently that they were the same sort of faces that my granddad used to pull to me. He used to pull these faces and I used to pull them faces back. So that was an extremely strange moment. I'm guessing that probably I saw him in the tree and he was making the faces at me, and I was making the faces at him, because when you're young you're more susceptible to seeing spirits and ghosts and things like that. So I guess that's what I saw then. And when I was very young child, I remember some pictures and cushions flying across the room while I was playing with my sister in the playpen. Mum was in the kitchen. There'd be these just items flying across the room, no particular reason. Mum knew it wasn't us because we was playing in the playpen, so it was nothing to do with us. She assumed it was possibly spirits and things like that. Nothing more from then, other than we used to have in the bedroom, we used to have knockers on the wardrobes, and they kept bang, 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 bang all night long, and it would drive myself and my sister up the wall, because we just kept saying, "Oh, can you just shut up?" And every time we used to say, "Could you just shut up?" they would bang, 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 then all of a sudden they would stop dead, as if someone has just suddenly stopped dead. Bang, 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 and then they just stopped. So that was a pretty creepy time. Whilst I was at work, I used to do some lates, so there just used to be 4 of us there. I would often experience strange things happening. Couldn't explain them at the time, but now, years later, I realised what they actually probably were. So I once went into our warehouse, which is where we kept all of the stock and that, and it was all upstairs on a mezzanine floor. So we used to keep all of the overstocks up there, and also that was where we used to keep all the POS and the merchandise and things like that. So I went up in the middle of the night, up in the warehouse, and because I needed something out of the back room. So I've gone up the mezzanine steps, walked straight the way to the back room where I needed to go. I got what I needed to do eventually. I came out, and as I was walking with the items in my arms past an aisle that was upstairs with overs and things on, overstock, there was somebody walking at the same speed as me, but on the next aisle. So I was looking through the shelving, through the stock to the other side, and I could see this figure. So I just kept walking, but I stopped and they stopped, and then I kept walking again, and then I stopped and they stopped. They was matching how I was walking. So I expected it. When I got to the end, I expected to actually find someone standing there. But when I eventually got to the end of the aisle, before I got to the stairs, I looked, there wasn't anybody in sight. So what I did when I went back down on the shop floor, my 3 colleagues were already there. And I did say to them, I said, "Have any of you been upstairs in the mezzanine floor?" They all said, "No, we've been down here all the time." And I explained what I saw, and a couple of them had had a similar sort of experience, but not exactly the same. So I could only assume that that actually was some sort of ghostly spirit or something like that. At the end of the night, once we'd done all our bits and pieces, what we needed to do, we used to say, oh, let's just lock up. So I volunteered to lock up down on the mezzanine floor, upstairs, because you had to go upstairs to the back of the shop, that back of the floor on the mezzanine floor, and you had to walk down the steps to the bottom and lock the door. So I'm walking through the mezzanine to the back door. I've opened the door. I've started going down the steps. As I'm going down the steps, there is this cold breeze just around me. There wasn't anywhere else. Cold breeze. And then I'm halfway down and I could feel someone's hand on my shoulder. I've turned round quickly. There isn't anybody there. So that gave me the heebie-jeebies. Anyway, I finally got to the bottom of the stairs and I locked up as quick as I could. And because it freaked me out slightly. So then I had to go back up the stairs. So I'm halfway going up the stairs. And I get this cold breeze again and the hand on the other shoulder this time. And it creeped me out so much that I run up the stairs and I just went back on the shop floor. I said, I'm not locking up down there ever again. Don't ask me to do it. Another time, whilst I was at work, it was quite early morning, so we didn't have any customers in. So I was just casually walking on the shop floor doing what I needed to do, and out of the corner of my eye, I'm 100% certain I saw a Roman soldier walk straight past me, but then through the racking on the shop floor. So it was slightly obscured. It was extremely strange, but it was like it was, when I saw it, it was full-bodied. It wasn't sort of ghostly or anything like that. It was like full-bodied, but it wasn't, because it went straight through the racking. And when I spoke to another colleague, they said they'd had a similar sort of thing happen to them. And apparently on that site was where Boadicea and the Romans walked through anyway. So possibly that was like an echo of time. I don't know, but I didn't feel scared about that at all. I've been in the garden once. I was outside with my mother. And during our little rest in the sun and our chill, we're sitting there. All of a sudden there was these like orb type bubbles just was floating round us, both of us. And at the time I thought it was a bit strange, and I didn't know this at the time, and my mother felt the same thing. So that all these orbs was flying round, but it was like a warm feeling, gave me a warm feeling. So I can only assume it was grandparents or relatives who had passed on. But it was extremely strange. Neither myself or my mum told me, sort of spoke about it at all. We sort of kept it secret till later on, and then I said, earlier on, did you see anything? The godmum said, yes, I did. I didn't want to say anything in case it was in my eyes playing up or anything like that. And I said, no, I saw that too. So that was quite strange. But then again, strange, but quite comforting. In my home, I've seen a tall shadow figure standing on the landing in the corner of the room between two rooms. It's only now and again we see it, not all the time, but it's like a shadow figure. You can't see the bottom of his legs, so I'm assuming that's something to do with the ground, because his legs are through the floor, but he is all black, so it's like a shadow figure, but he's got this long Victorian coat on, this cane and a top hat. And he stands there with his two hands on his cane, just standing there. I've not seen him in any other place. It's like he's just watching, making sure everyone's okay. And I don't feel scared, and he's not going to hurt you. I think he's just here to protect us all. So, I'm quite happy for him to still stay here. I've felt a warm sensation on my lap whilst I'm either watching the TV or on my computer doing some work. Again, we had a cat years ago. She used to love sleeping in the bedroom. I'm assuming that she is still here as a spirit animal, because it just seems strange that sometimes it's in one patch on my lap, and then sometimes there isn't anything at all. I don't feel anything. Sometimes my legs are cold, sometimes they're really warm. I can only assume that's my lovely little cat, so I'm very happy for her to be here too. I know I have several spirits in my home, but to be honest, I don't fear any of them, because I think if there were any of them here that will harm us, they would have harmed us already. But I think the most of them are just here because they find us welcoming, and it's quite a happy and chilled home. So, if they're here just to protect us and be here to comfort us, they're welcome. We've witnessed a few strange things along the years. We have a girl or a lady with long dark hair. She's got a white dress or a white nightie on, who runs through the whole length of the sitting room, dining room, downstairs. It only happens certain times of the year, but she always stops halfway through, has a look around, and then carries on running. Could be an echo of time. I'm not sure. Could be a spirit. Another strange thing. We often hear keys being dropped in the hallway, on the telephone table, or on the floor. And then when you go down and have a look, there's no one there to be seen. It's extremely strange because no one's there. And you shout out, no one's there. So that's strange. A few of us have felt cold breezes around us, like someone's blowing on you, or, trying to get your attention perhaps. But it really doesn't make us feel scared at all. We've often heard people calling our names, and then when we've spoken to the other people in the house, they're like, no, I've not called you, but someone's just called my name. Or we've heard mumbling, talking, chatting, but it's the pitch that you can't really hear too much. So that's extremely strange. We've seen people, we've been downstairs and we've heard people running upstairs here. So when we come up, there's no one here. But again, not scared, just strange. Some of us here have seen figures running straight across the landing, but just like the corner of your eye thing, not anything that's full on. But to be honest, I don't think anything that's here is here to harm us. I think, as I said earlier, that they're here just because they want to be, and they find it peaceful environment. And my spiritual adventure continues.